Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Adeolua, and I just said let me seize this opportunity when I'm looking a little bit more put together because usually when I have something to say and I'm not just in the mood to get spruced up, like I'm neat and clean, but I'm not just in the mood to spruce up. I just do an audio. So I don't really like doing videos like that. But today I thought I was gonna rest after doing my hair. Like I just left my hairline fallow for weeks. Like weeks. Not combed. Just if it gets itchy, I wash, let it rub cream on it and leave it like that. Very interesting. But finally, I just got the strength to just comb out my hair and then flat twist it on two sides like this. So I just thought let me do a video. While my hair is still looking really interestingly fine. And I want to read because usually sometimes I just write my thoughts about things, and one of the things I've written and I just don't feel like rewriting it again. So one of the things I've written, I'll just read them out. Right, I'll just read it out. So this particular one doesn't really have a topic, but it's just about the situationship among, this is like Bible story, but like what the insights I'm getting concerning some of the stories. When you're just meditating or just thinking, things come to your mind. Maybe that's why I don't really like to meditate much, because when I do, the things that come to my mind are a little shocking for me. So this is the story of Rachel, Jacob, and Leah. So I'll just begin. All right. So right. The tribe of Judah is one of the most, shall we say, controversial tribes in Israel. Judah had a great beginning. He was born at a time when Leah had, or Leish, as my father said, it's pronounced in Hebrew. Leish had begun to acknowledge God as an important part of her life. She said, "Now I will praise God." Previously, she was always trying to get her husband's love, or should I say, the love that Jacob had for Rachel, or Rachel. Rachel. By the way, the love of one cannot be given to another. Let me say that again. The love of one cannot be given to another. And what that means is looking at somebody, and some women and even men, they go after some people because of how they see them love. And they want that kind of love for themselves. And so they just go after this person, not thinking about that he's already taken or she's already taken. But you don't just want her, you don't just want this person, you just want how they love. You want that love to be transferred to you. And if for some strange reason you do succeed in getting the person, and then you don't get loved the same way they love that other person, you will still not be happy, neither will you even be fulfilled. And then there is that issue of you feeling like maybe someone will come along and do the same thing you did. So let me tell you that right now. Love is not transferable. Nobody can love you the same way they love someone else. Like they will just love you for you, because for one, they're a different person when they're with you. For two, you are a different person. So how you are going to be loved is not going to be the same as the other person. But what matters is as long as you're loved, that is what is important. And so it's when you have that in mind, that love is not transferable. You can't snatch someone's love, because I think that is probably where these side chick thingy, or these people that just feel like, let me just take this man away from this lady, or let me just take this lady away from this man, and you think that the way they love is going to be transferred to you. It might not. And then to make matters more picky or tricky, they don't stop loving the other person. And that's another thing. That they love you does not mean they might stop loving the other person. It just means you are the one they love now. Like, it's not that they stop loving that person, and it's not that they actively love that person. Because sometimes people assume that, that person should completely forget who they had been in love with. No, it doesn't happen that way. The heart is like a big house. It's like a mansion with so many rooms. And once a person takes a place in a person's heart, that is it. They have it. They have that part in that person's life, and it's going to be that way for a very long time, if not forever. So you expecting that they would completely forget the people that they loved because you are now in their life is not how love works. So I just said I should just, tell you that. Now we proceed. I might do this in parts though, so it doesn't get too long. Okay, so by the way, as I was reading rather, by the way, the love of one cannot be given to another. It's not transferable because you are not that person and they aren't you. And I dare say your love needs are different. Okay? The other person, each person will be loved based on who they are as individuals. Okay. So before you think I'm reading this from a book, and hopefully by God's grace, I will be writing a book. This right here. Let me see. So this is my notes. And since I'm not sure you can read this, but at least I can read my own writing. So there you have it. I hope you saw that. All right. So I proceed. I would like to think that Jacob loved Leah in his own way. Maybe I'm just an over-optimistic romantic for thinking that, and what I'm about to say may not apply, but how do you explain a man like Jacob repeatedly impregnating a woman he has no feelings for? That thing will always be a misery to someone like me, because, yeah, it's a mystery, okay? How? How? Like, I mean, someone might say, well, even commercial sex workers, how do they do their job without falling in love with everybody they sleep with? They have a way they block themselves mentally. Like, you have to ask them when you see them. They know how to like step out of themselves. So they're like, it's like they just blank out while they are working, because they cannot even, it's unfathomable for a lot of them to be in that situation where one person, different people are having, that kind of access to their body. Like, it's just very unimaginably difficult, and it can be described, and let's just leave it at that, so. But for a man though, it's I really can't explain that. It never made sense to me how a man would, get that close, in quotes, to a person like that and not love them. But hey, I proceed a little further. Right. So where was I? Right. So how do you explain a man like Jacob repeatedly impregnating a woman he has no feelings for? Yes, sex is not love and vice versa. But I believe if he had complete disgust and revulsion for Leish, he would never had touched her again after that first night. Or he may have stayed completely away from her the moment he had his Rachel as his bride. Of course, Rachel noticed that in spite of his love for her, her sister Leish was also loved, in quote, which was probably one of the reasons for her give her a child or she die outburst. Funny how she wasn't satisfied with the devotion Jacob had for her. No, she wanted more. Specifically, she wanted the love Jacob had for Leish, as less as it seemed compared to the great love she had from Jacob. I think I'll just pause it for there. And when you look at things like that, sometimes it's nice to look at, how will I say it now? It's not that I looked at it this way. It just came to my mind. You know those things where if you find puzzling and you're just thinking and thinking like how can this be? How can that be? How can this be? And then, you know, it just came to my mind. I'm sure there are other things that will come. And this is long a little bit, but I'm not sure I want to like go on talking about it for now. But let me see if I can finish it. Maybe I should go a little further. I don't know. All right. Maybe I should go a little further. All right. Right. So, as I was saying, unfortunately for Leah, she was too busy fighting her sister to notice she had her own place in Jacob's heart. See, that thing where people don't value what they have and they're always looking at what other people have. And case in point, this is just a case in point to show us that polygamy is never proper. Although some people would argue that God was not blatantly or vehemently against polygamy as he is against murder and other sins and crimes and stuff like that. But I think God has different ways of speaking to us, and he shows us, like, his word shows us, people who were polygamous, who had more than one woman in their life, and how that went. Like, the Bible usually is quite detailed about their lives. Like, you could do a series on the life of Jacob and his wives, and it would be drama back to back, and it would be painful drama. Polygamy is just not it, because hardly anybody in that situation is happy, because the man has divided attention, and sometimes the man can be even lonely because the women are busy fighting one another in their hearts for his attention, and they're not even seeing that, let me even take care of this man, and what does he need? No, they're like, I want to be the only one here, which is quite understandable, but hey, and you put yourself in some situations, or you find yourself, would I say Jacob found himself in this situation? Sort of, he did. Yeah, he did. Let's go a little further. Anyways, so perhaps we're talking about Leish now, or Leah, if you may. Perhaps if she knew, that is Leah, if Leah knew, she would have just been content. Like if Leah knew that her sister, who she was envying, was also envious of her, maybe she would have just been content and ignored Rachel. But instead, she kept competing with Rachel for the title of who has the most children for the husband. Both women forgot how they got fighting in the first place because they gave the maids to their husbands to extend their competition. Honestly. Now, let's go a little further. Don't ask me why Jacob agreed to such arrangement in the first place. That's another topic for another day. Yeah, like they just told you, oh, go into my maid, and you two just, you know what? Another topic for another day. I just wonder if they ever got down to real nurturing of their children in all this competition, or they just saw sons as a means of having their husbands' complete attention to themselves as individuals. The children may actually feel all that, and they may be the genesis, and that may rather be the genesis of their different character flaws. Because a lot is said about how both were just competing for Jacob's attention. And frankly speaking, I don't know about you, but do you see how they could have been the best mothers they could be where they're busy competing with each other? Like the children were like the trophies that they were just pushing out just to get the man. And so, like, I guess they probably will be providing the basics, but the children will feel that competition over whatever love they might have for their children, right? They might feel it like it's like mother only wants me to get the father's attention, and this is really sad. Now, let me go a little further. So, Jacob was probably lonely too because his wives only saw him as a trophy they wanted to win and keep in their tents. He was a wanted man, in quote, so to speak. That can be flattering to a man, but only for a while, because loneliness will remind him that his love has not really been returned. All they wanted from him were sons and more sons to prove a point to each other. That is Rachel and Leah. Right. And maybe that may be the reason he kept giving in to their wishes, especially with the maid concubine issue. Like their maids, who became concubines eventually. Then maybe if he would give in to their wishes, that one of them would look at him as a man who needs to be loved for himself rather than loved for what he can give them. It doesn't sound like fun to be seen as a son-producing stallion. He probably felt like a workhorse. Oh my goodness, not funny. Well, I'll just, stop there for today. Like that would be like the part one of the Rachel and Leah saga, whatever name you want to call it. So I'll continue this another time. So in all of this, guard your hearts with all diligence, for out of it flows the issues of life. And remember that they that know their God, they shall be strong and they shall do exploits. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, with all your strength. When you're able to do all of this, there'll be less, the more of those things I just mentioned, like those scriptures I just recited right now, the more of loving God you can do, the more guarded your heart is, the more of loving God you have, the less drama you have in your life. Like, you wouldn't have this thing that I'm just reading right now. Like, that would not be part of your story, because your love is all for God, right? So, till next time, peace.